So LIV Golf finally has an exclusive TV broadcast partner in the United States with the CW network. But will that make any difference whatsoever to its viewing figures this year? Andy, what do you reckon?
Look, I think it's certainly a move in the right direction for them, but will it dramatically increase viewers? For me, I don't think so. No, I really don't think so. As an Englishman, I had to look up the CW network. I'd never heard of that before. I was actually with some American sports fans. I'm over here at the PJ show in Orlando, and I spoke to them yesterday, and I kind of wanted to get their view on it as golf fans. They were sat there watching the golf, the NFL and everything. And they said, I've heard it, but I wouldn't necessarily sit there and watch it at the minute. There's no major sports on there at all. I had a look at their schedule of what they've got on there at the minute. It's kind of things like Superman 90210. It's things like that. It's kind of something that you probably have to just stumble into to actually even know that it's on there. But, as I say, it's a move in the right direction. They can feel a bit loved now. They can kind of think, oh, look, we've got a TV partner. They actually do have someone who's taken them on board. But I think someone told me yesterday that the average age of viewer on the CW is 58 years old. And in terms of their growing the game kind of mantra, I don't really know how that kind of fits it all. So we just have to see how it plays out. It's positive for them, but it just feels like everything's a bit of a struggle for them. Just in terms of getting, they probably wanted Fox Sports and stuff, but nobody really wanted them. Even here in the UK, Sky have turned it down, obviously with their deals with PJ Tour and DP World Tour. That was always going to happen, but BT Sport didn't want it. So us over here in the UK, we're going to have to carry on watching it through YouTube, streaming it on Facebook, through the LIV Golf website. But yeah, we'll just have to see. As I say, I think it's a bit of a struggle at the minute, even just in terms of them signing big name PJ Tour pros. It seems hard battle to get sponsors on board. It's just proving maybe a lot harder than they thought. That's how I think it's playing out right now.
I can't believe the average watcher is 58. I've just got their list of shows. They're watching One Tree Hill, Gilmore Girls, Gossip Girl, The Vampire Diaries, Smallville. Do you remember Smallville? That was a hell of a show. Yeah. But that's what you get on the CW network. And now Matt, LIV Golf. I mean, we talked about it quite a lot in the first two shows. Golf is, with the new Netflix show as well. We're aiming at younger audiences. Sport in general they want new fans. They want to revitalize it. I mean, I suppose you can call it a win of sorts, but it's a small win.
Well, yeah, it is like Andy said, it's a step in the right direction, I think. They have got a TV deal now. They are on some sort of mainstream platform. It's better for American viewers, obviously, because like Andy said, I had to Google it and see what it was. I hadn't heard of the CW network. And it is, I suppose, it's a step in the right direction. I think I read that it's going to be available on things like Amazon Fire and Chromecast and Android TV and Apple TV and things like that, and DAZN. But those are all subscription-based things anyway, aren't they, I think? So I think either way it would be difficult for UK fans to still tune in to an extent. But I read also that I think it's the fifth biggest network in America. I suppose I've got to start somewhere, LIV Golf, with the broadcast deal, but you do sort of feel that everything they do is off the cuff. It's not planned. It's not part of any strategy. Yeah. You do sort of feel it's off the cuff, and I think that reflects their sort of struggles with recruitment at the minute. There's only the only sort of player that's been linked with a move is Mito Pereira, and I think as PGA Tour fans, I think you can just take that and just sort of say, yeah, fair enough. No one's really too bothered about that. And I don't think they've not got 14 dates yet, 14 events yet for their second year schedule.
It starts in 3 weeks.
And it starts in 3 weeks. So I don't want to just keep bashing LIV Golf because it is quite easy, but it is. I think this TV deal is sort of representative of them doing things off the cuff constantly. They were never going to get anything with NBC, CBS, or ESPN because they're all tied up with the PGA Tour, and then Fox doesn't have golf. But there was supposedly talks with Fox Golf, with Fox Sports, for LIV Golf, but that didn't obviously materialise. It's been blasted by the National Press Club as CW Network in fact, Nexstar Media Group has been blasted. That owns 75% stake in CW Network, for supposedly cooperating with LIV Golf, cooperating with Saudi Arabia. So yeah, it's just the off-the-cuff nature that I think this sort of move is representative of, really, and I think that shows in the rest of their operations at the minute.
So I don't think any money's changed hands here in terms of this deal. I think it's simply a revenue share, isn't it? So, but I was reading yesterday. I think the CW it doesn't even submit to the Nielsen TV ratings or whatever they call it in America. So I'm not sure any of us are really even going to know how many people are going to be viewing this. I'm sure we'll find out eventually, but it just seems quite interesting that these sort of figures are not really going to be made public initially. So is that going to prove a bit of a headache for advertising providers? And obviously that's how they're going to try and make the money. But it's just all a bit of a weird one for me. I'm not quite sure how it's going to come together. But I mean, I've got some stats down here just for our listeners in terms of if people are kind of wondering, well, how many viewers really even tuned in on YouTube to watch it last year, and the first event at LIV, was it London, even though it was in Hertfordshire, we'll let them off. It was the first one. You think there would be loads and loads of people watching it, and I think their concurrent feed of people watching that tournament on the weekend was 104,000 people. And you think, free to view on YouTube, 2.6 billion users on YouTube. You think nearly a lot of golfers would have been really interested in watching over there, but 104,000 just for that first event, and that was number one of the 8 events last year. Even their season finale with 40,000 viewers on YouTube at one time watching it at the weekend. Their season finale, 40,000 people. I think when Stenson won, was it in Bedminster? I remember reading something. It was I think it was 74,000 then. You compare that to the PGA Tour coverage that weekend. Was it an average of 2.5 million viewers? So 74,000 versus 2.5 million. The Rocket Mortgage Classic, not even a bigger tournament on the PGA Tour, but it just shows you the power of something like CBS Sports. Having the PGA Tour, what that would provide LIV Golf, if they even did manage to get on Fox Sports, that would be certainly a bigger driver than the CW that I feel like you're just going to have to stumble across. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I just think it's all, as Matt says, it is a bit of a struggle at the minute. Just, can't get well ranking points, can't get sponsors, can't get the TV deal they want. And Mito Pereira, with all due respect to him, he's not really going to suddenly bring a load more viewers into the. I was
sort of thinking of the UK equivalent of the CW network. If it is supposedly the sort of the 5th most popular network in terms of sports broadcasting, so in the UK you've got sort of Sky Sports, BT Sport. There aren't really any other. There aren't many options. I suppose that shows the diversity and sort of the depth of American sports television. Yeah. But say if the UK was LIV Golf. Say if they were to sign a deal with the 5th biggest sports broadcasting company in the UK, I was just trying to think of the equivalent. There's not really an equivalent, is there? But I think that just shows
Channel 5?
Maybe Channel 5 or
Channel 5,
I was thinking of DAZN as well, but even that's a subscription-based thing online. It would be I
remember when I was
maybe Channel 5.
I remember I was at uni. And golf was on Setanta Sports.
Setanta,
They moved across
things
Setanta,
like that.
And that didn't last. Did it?
But the thing is, though, when you look at the CW programs, I actually would compare it. It's not a sports broadcasting network.
No,
from my brief look at it, this is the first sports they are showing ever. Yeah. Good news for comedy fans, though. Would I Lie to You UK is coming to the CW network. Can assure all the American listeners it's a great show. But it is mainly. I would compare it in the UK. I would compare it to LIV Golf being live on E4. Or
something like that.
No, you're right.
Yeah. See,
so. It's a bold strategy. Let's see if it pays off. But I think they were a bit out of options by the looks of it, really. But for those in America, that's where you can watch it, and everywhere else, well, Google it. But look, we'll soon find out how it all goes down, because about a month, isn't it, till the first of 14 LIV Golf tournaments kicks off, beginning in Mexico on the 24th of Feb. But let's move LIV Golf to one side for the moment and chat about some incredible golf that was played over the weekend, starting with the Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship, and it was Victor Perez who kick-started his campaign for a Ryder Cup debut in pretty good fashion, I think, with a dramatic victory. So spoiler alert, though. Well, it's too late. Last week's tips were once again useless by the looks of things. Matt, go on, you start. What can you tell us?
Well, Tommy Fleetwood started well. In terms of the tips, Tommy Fleetwood started well, but then sort of petered out. And then Ryan Fox had weekend rounds of 79 and 73 when he was actually quite well placed after 2 rounds. So, but I'm not defending my selections. Very poor. I'm hoping for, and in the American event as well, very poor. I'm hoping for better this week. But yeah, it was brilliant to see Victor Perez win. His 3rd win, first Rolex Series win, banks himself quite a lot of Ryder Cup points. As we were saying before we come on, I think although one win doesn't define a year, and he could have a stinker still this season, I think Victor Perez, that places him very well in Luke Donald's mind. Even if he was to be a pick, I think that does set him up very well for this year. He's a very solid DP World Tour player, as you all know. And I really enjoy watching the Rolex Series events. I've really enjoyed watching the coverage on Sunday and Saturday. I love watching players such as himself. I love watching players like Minwoo Lee. I think he's got a cracking swing. He's a cracking player. It was great to see a great run from Padraig Harrington at 51 years old. He was excellent on Saturday afternoon when he made sort of 5 or 6 birdies in a row, and he really gave it a good go on the Sunday afternoon. Maybe a couple of bogeys on the front 9 probably cost him from really challenging Perez. But I think Perez was for the large part, he was in control for the whole of Sunday. He nearly nosed up the 18th, didn't he? But the 17th was amazing, an incredible bunker shot.
Shot of the year so far.
Incredible. Fantastic bunker shot that spun back in, which gave him a sort of a decisive 2-shot lead. But he sort of nosed up the 18th. He's in the fairway bunker, then into the hazard area, and then it sort of went from there. He did make a bogey, and then Sebastian Soderberg did have. I thought he was going to go to a playoff, to be honest, because Soderberg, all he needed to do was birdie the last. I know, it's easy saying all he needed to do was birdie it, but he had 86 yards in on the last, I believe, on the 72nd hole where he missed the green. So that sort of thing doesn't help. But he wasn't gifted to Perez. He was excellent. It was brilliant to see him win. I think he's definitely going to be on the Ryder Cup team. And yeah, a week with LIV golfers present as well. Richard Bland was the highest placed at tied 10th. I sort of in the back of my mind wanted him to win just because of the controversy and sort of the outrage it caused to see how everyone would have reacted. But the rest of them didn't do that well. I think Stenson was 20th, Larry Tharball 20th, Poulter well down the field, tied 60th, Westwood 56th. But no, I really enjoyed it. They're always quite saturated, busy leaderboards, these Rolex Series events. At some stages you get sort of 5 or 6 players, any of them can win. But no, yeah, I was really pleased for Perez, and I thought it was a brilliant week with 2 holes in one as well. Tyrrell Hatton and Dan Bradbury got holes in one during the week. So yeah, really enjoyable. And I think the same will be this week in Dubai. I think it'll be another really exciting week.
Well, it certainly will be. But then, Andy, over at the American Express...
Well, we had a bit of luck over there, yeah.
Well, it certainly did, absolutely.
About time we had a winning tip. About time. I mean, I can't really call it a tip when I've picked the hottest man in golf right now.
Yeah, but at least, we have to get some winners in there. You can't be wrong all the time.
6-1 as well. I mean, that was still a fair price, not bad price. But yeah, 2 weeks, 3 weeks into our podcast now, we've had our first winning tip.
That means you get a point. You're leading 1 point in the standings. There you go.
Matt got a point though for picking the coin flip, so he
gets
the Hero Cup win.
Okay.
So it's mastermind
that tip.
Yeah, it's clever. But no, fourth win in 6 starts for Jon Rahm in the American Express. Just the hottest man in golf right now. Incredible. I think he's up to world number 3. Really, I think we all know he's probably world number 1. Really, Rory might have something to say about that this week. Obviously, making his return to Dubai. But what is Rahm? Look, he's more than 50 under in his last, 7 rounds. Just incredible golf. And now he's going to, clearly be looking for a big year in the majors. Disappointed in the majors last year. He's even come out and said that, didn't make any top 10s in the majors. He's going to make that a big priority for him this year. Obviously, only got one major title to his name at the US Open in 2021. But I mean, he's absolutely burst out the blocks. He finished last year well. He's maintaining the form. And I think everyone else is going to be pretty worried about what they're seeing from Jon Rahm at the minute. And he didn't really, watching the final round last night, he was solid, but, it wasn't spectacular. It was, I sort of thought he was in second gear for most of that final round last night. Didn't really hold any notable putt. And held on for a one-shot win, shot 68. But I think it just shows, it's ominous for everyone, right? If Jon Rahm is winning now regularly and not playing well, this is what Tiger used to do back in the day. Tiger could play with his C game and still see out tournaments. And it's almost looking at the guy's name on the leaderboard, final round. If you've got that fear factor in you, which is what the likes of him and McIlroy have, that's huge. But he's only going to build in confidence as well. And I think it's going to be a very big year for Jon Rahm.
Soul destroying for everybody else, though, isn't it?
Yeah. He's rampant.
Just a bit.
Fear Jon Rahm for this year. Now, though, another show brings another special guest. It's not Jon Rahm, but I think by the end of the year, let's think bold here. We'll Definitely. Get Jon on. But we are as equally delighted to be joined by a DP World Tour pro, Connor Syme. Well, Connor, you're our third special guest on the GolfMagic Podcast, following in the footsteps of John Murphy and also your best friend and apparently karaoke singing sensation, Ewan Ferguson. Is it really true that Ewan is a master on the mic? And also, does that mean you're good as well? How are you behind the mic?
I don't know what he's been chatting, to be fair. he does fancy himself as a bit of a singer, but I can confirm he's not that great. He's not that great.
Right, but crucially, what about you? No.
I mean, we're both enthusiastic. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's all that counts.
Love it. Connor, it ended up being a tie for 28th in Abu Dhabi on Sunday. When I started watching the coverage, I was getting quite excited. I saw you. I think you were 2 shots behind at one point. Obviously, a solid week to start the season, but I imagine there's maybe a sense of disappointment at the back nine. Was there or?
Yeah. Obviously, only yesterday. It's still a bit annoying more than anything. Like the way that I finished. Like it definitely got harder on the back nine. There's a few, like with the wind picked up, like a lot of guys were dropping shots, but that's the way you can make yourself feel a wee bit better about it. But it still doesn't make it any better if that makes sense. But
sure.
Annoying. Just like a couple of 3 putts, and like anytime I was out of position, really, I had a lot of good putts for birdie that didn't drop, and then I had a couple of similar length putts for par and didn't make them, and then all of a sudden it's like I ended up coming back in 3 over. But like I played well. Like obviously it was really good on Saturday, and some really good stuff there on Sunday as well. But just unfortunately never finished it quite off. But still good to, like you say, I think I was in 3rd place, 2 behind at one point on Sunday, which is where you kind of want to be in these sort of tournaments. And it didn't work out this time, but hopefully, it can maybe hopefully carry that good form into this week.
Good stuff.
Hi, Connor, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, Matt. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks. So in 2022, Connor, you had a couple of top 3 finishes on tour, and I think you had back-to-back second place finishes back in August. What would be the goal now for 2023 on the DP World Tour? Is it to win? Is it to get more top 10s? What would be the goal for you this year now?
Like I've definitely set out some like more specific goals this year, like be it like stats related things, and kind of I work with Eduardo Molinari. He has a stats program that I use, and I think like just trying to continue to get better at that stuff, and hopefully that will progress into winning golf tournaments. Really, that's basically it. But I feel like there's a better, obviously it's like I'd like to just sit here and say to you, like, obviously I want to win on tour, which everybody does, but I think that you've got to have a plan in place about how you're going to do that, really. And like I've kind of looked at my stats and looked at areas that I need to try and improve on, where I have been improving, and if I can, do these sort of things better, then really the results will hopefully improve as well. That's the long and short of it, really.
So, well, next opportunity, obviously, this week in Dubai. Short journey across to the Emirates Golf Club. Looking forward to this week. Obviously, Rory's returning. Is there a bit of a kind of a buzz that kind of he's back and you're all contending against the best player in the world?
Yeah, no, it'll be awesome. Like anytime you're playing in a tournament with him, it's obviously brilliant. And like I love this course. I think I've not actually played, scored all that well, but I definitely think it's a course that kind of suits my game really. You need to really be straight off the tee and a lot of kind of dog leg holes and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to it. Like I've had some good practice here the last couple of weeks, kind of getting ready for it. And then it's mad actually. I was only here a couple of days before going down to Abu Dhabi, then I was back up there only today to use the gym. But it's like such an amazing tournament, like the way everything's set up, like the player gifts, everything. They just do everything so well. So no, it's exciting. It's such a cool week. So hopefully can play well.
Best of luck.
Now, we recently asked Ewan, because he was our first victim, or guest, I should say, on the show, what it was like to work alongside Niall Horan at Modest Golf. But I suppose then we'd like to ask the same question to you. What's it like?
Yeah, it's awesome. Like I've been with Modest since I've turned pro. That's I guess this is my 6th year maybe now. And yeah, they've been with me the whole time. So it's great. Like Niall's he loves golf so much. Like even like talking to him, you want to ask him how he's getting on with music maybe, and he's like, no, but how's golf though? Like he just he's just obsessed with it. But no, it's good. Like obviously having, the whole team's brilliant at Modest, and obviously having Niall's support and a guy like that in the stable, it's just it's not normal really, and it's great to have him there. He's obviously been really successful, so having somebody like that around is only a good thing.
Connor, you're a ping player, of course, on DP World Tour. What clubs have you got in the bag this season? Have you sort of chopped and changed between some of the new range? You've got the new driver, or what have you opted with this year?
I've put in new irons. Like I've always used iBlade, and I've used that since amateur golf. But I've put in I230s now for this season. I did a trip out to Arizona that they've got the headquarters for pings out there. So I went there in December. So I'm trying all the new stuff. Like Ewan actually gives me stick for it all the time, but I hate changing. Like if there's anything, even if it's brilliant, I'm still like, but I know what this does. You know what I mean? So I've stuck with the same driver, but I do have the new 3-wood in play and the same 7-wood. So that's G425 and then the G430 3-wood, and then new irons, I230. So it's good. Like I felt like the irons just were a little bit more forgiving on the longer stuff and maybe flighted up a little bit higher. So last week was the first time in a tournament using them, but obviously having that trip to America and like getting to play with them, and having like it's actually hard to find, although we obviously do it every single day. Like golf and that is it's hard to actually get time to put something new in. So like if I'm at a tournament, probably the last thing I want to do on like a Monday or Tuesday is like stick a new set of irons, and it just would seem a bit silly. So it was nice to have those 5 days out there just like structured and like, right, okay. And actually I changed the shaft that looked good on the range, went and played on the course with them the next day, and they were terrible. So then it just shows you how much of a difference it makes, and like why you wouldn't risk doing that in an event really. So although I ended up not changing all that much over there, it was still like productive to make sure everything's in the right place.
Connor, looking ahead, Ryder Cup 8 months away. Are you daring yourself to dream of this year that you could maybe make your way into Luke Donald's team, or is this a bit more of a long-term ambition for you?
Like obviously I would love to make it, and like it would be a dream to play the Ryder Cup, obviously, and with some good golf, obviously this year somebody's going to be an outside shot looking in, and I'm going to be giving it a good go. There's no reason why you wouldn't be trying to shoot high for things like that, and if it doesn't come off, at least your targets are set high, if that makes sense. And like obviously I've got goals to try and win on tour and stuff like that. And if playing a Ryder Cup, who knows what can happen this year really. It's each tournament, like I even think that now is like obviously even having 5 tournaments in a row here, like so much can change in over a 5-week stretch of me being at home and then coming away now. So It's obviously a long way away. It's a short time away, but a long way away in terms of tournaments. And we've got some big ones coming up. And if you play well in the right ones, it's definitely possible. So we'll be trying our best anyway.
Cool. Fingers crossed.
I think the Ryder Cup and the DP World Tour is in sort of uncharted territory in terms of who's going to be allowed to play as well and things like that. Say at last week's tournament, Connor, and this week's tournament, do you feel comfortable or uncomfortable with players who have signed on for LIV Golf playing? Do you care? Are you bothered? And would you be happy playing on the same Ryder Cup team as them? What would be your thoughts on that?
Because it hasn't affected me at all, to be honest, in terms of like I was never offered to go or anything like that. Like, so I've just been playing, and obviously it's been more like I can definitely see why guys like McIlroy and stuff like that would be frustrated. I mean, maybe they've been offered a lot of money to go themselves, and then guys are getting to play. But like I'm good friends with some guys that have went to play LIV and then come back. Like I played with Richard Bland the other day, and I'm good friends with Adrian Ategi, and he's played in a few tournaments. So like I don't see them as bad people. And I think, I was speaking to Adrian about it, and he played 26 events in the European Tour or DP World Tour last year. So it's not, he has supported the tour. It's just obviously where the rest of his golf's been played. So I think it's murky at the moment. Obviously there's who knows where it'll end up, but it's not really, it hasn't really affected me as such. Like, they're still the same people ultimately, and hopefully it all works out. Really, that's kind of. I just hope everything. It is worrying times for golf, but good as well. The way there's some competition there, but I think like I would love it to get some sort of normality back. Like I don't, it feels weird. Like Dustin Johnson isn't playing on the PGA Tour.
A bit fractured,
like that, So hopefully it gets worked out, but. As for like guys like Adrian Ategi or something like that, like it's guys I really like, and I don't have any animosity to him at all.
So you think there's maybe a bit more of an acceptance now that that there are LIV guys playing on, like last week, for example, in Abu Dhabi?
Yeah.
It's just kind of let's just all kind of move forward now.
I suppose I can only really speak for myself, and like maybe guys that are, I guess maybe somebody like Adrian would be somebody I've played with more, and Richard Bland and stuff like that I've played with more. So like I feel like I know them, and I don't know the other guys anyway. Sure. Like I've played with Stenson before, but I've never it's not somebody I would speak to all the time or anything like that. So it doesn't, maybe that would affect guys at the top that I've played with those guys for a number of years, but I can only speak from my experience, and like it doesn't really affect me. Like I feel like I'm playing a tournament anyway against the same people. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't really change much.
Cool. Connor, I spoke to Charlie of the Golf app. I think you've been working with him on the app. I know you're a big fan of it. I really like it. It's an app that's designed to help golfers find other golfers a bit like themselves on and off the course. What can you tell us about that, and what do you like so much about it?
Yeah, so I've partnered with them for this year. So they're going to be on my sleeve, which is cool. Like I'm really excited to work with them, and obviously, like it's a new experience for me as well. But I like the concept of, I know, like, well, I think about my sisters, for example, where they were younger. Like I grew up in a place called Dumfries, and they were really one of like the only girl golfers that played. So you think like from that point of view, like they now don't play golf, but maybe had their experience been different when they were younger, maybe they could have been able to like meet other girls that were playing in that area, or just link up with people better. Who knows where they could be now, because like they all swing it amazing. Like I'm not just saying that like they're better than mine, probably. It's just they're good, but they just don't play. So like I guess apps like this will hopefully make a difference to try and get, and that works for everybody. I know, like I'm not sure what level of golfers you guys are, but like if you are getting to meet people and play, it keeps you competitive, doesn't it? Like if you're playing with maybe guys your age or similar levels and stuff like that, it's great. So I think it's cool. Obviously they're just getting started, but it'll be a good partnership for me, and I'm looking forward to try and help them grow. And it's a great concept. It really is.
Brilliant. Cool.
I think that's a brilliant idea. I think for all the things you said, but also if you just want to make more friends or new friends or just for socializing as well, like-minded people, it's a great idea. If you've moved to a new area or something, you don't know anybody, great thing to do. Now, it comes to the end, but what we do is we ask a final sort of 3 quick fire questions, and we ask them to everybody that comes on the show. And the first one, you might offend Ewan if you don't answer correctly. Who is your golfing best friend?
I'd love to say not like it's Ewan. Like we're close. Like we have been close forever, and it is brilliant that we're both on tour now. I'm actually staying at his this week. It's not a bad setup, to be fair. So we're for that alone, he's got to be my golf best friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he'll kick you out otherwise.
Exactly.
Now obviously we spoke about his singing abilities and your lack of. But do you have any hidden talents? How are you a good cook, or can you're a dancer, or?
I don't know how hidden it. Well, I was good at football when I was younger. I don't know how that transpires into now, but like I had trials at Rangers when I was younger, so that was I was actually decent. And I when I was 13 or 14, I had to pick between football and golf really, and then it's worked out probably for the better. I think
you chose the right one, yeah.
But we never know. We never know.
Well, that's it.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. I was a good footballer, to be fair. I don't know, but I've not played in.
Where did you play?
Yeah.
What position?
Yeah.
I was right mid, and then my speed. It was all. I then became more of a centre mid. Do you know what I mean? But like David Beckham was my idol. I loved him when growing up. Like I used to always get the Predators and get the number 7 on it and all that. I loved it. I was all in on that. And but yeah, like so I ended up just trying to copy whatever he did. So like ping and ball, that was.
So are you a big Rangers fan then?
I love Rangers.
Yeah. Like, do you get to go to Ibrox a lot, or?
I do try and go. Yeah. I didn't get to go when I was off there for a while, but me and Ewan, we were at the Europa League final and stuff like that, and like last season we were there quite a lot, and been to a few games earlier on this season, but haven't been in a while. But yeah, it's awesome, like the atmosphere and stuff. I would highly recommend it if he's ever get the chance.
Yeah, I have been there once, a long time ago. It's
good.
Have
you?
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, very cool.
Now, I think you may have inadvertently now answered the final question, but maybe not. What would you be doing if you weren't playing golf for a living?
I'm trying to play it. I would be trying to be a footballer. Definitely.
Yeah. Fair.
That was easy.
Easy. There you go. Easy. I think in all the correct answers, everybody will be happy. Nobody's offended. Look, Connor, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us on the GolfMagic Pod. It's been brilliant to get a little insight into your career and your thoughts going forward. We wish you the best of luck for your 2023 plans as well. And we'll be following them closely, and hopefully we can get you back on the pod later on in the year.
Yeah, top man, guys. Thank you so much for having me on, and keep up the good work.
Cheers, Connor. I appreciate it. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Connor. Cheers.
Thank you.
Brilliant to have a good chat with Connor there.
Definitely.
Certainly him and Ewan, I think they'd be great together on a show at some point. Tips they weren't god awful last week, but they weren't great, but we still got one. So looking forward to this weekend. Tips for the should we start with the Dubai Desert Classic, part of the DP World Tour? Andy, what you got?
Okay. It's his first tournament of the year. I think he's going to burst out the gate. He's going to see what Jon Rahm's doing at the minute, and he's going to go, right, come on, let's have it. I'm going Rory McIlroy. Straight out the gate. Loves this course. He's 3-1 though. Yeah. He's 3-1. Not a great price, but he's won here twice. That rhymes. 2009 was his first win here. It was his first win on the DP World Tour. And he won in 2015. I think he beat Alex Noren that year. And he's kind of had opportunities to win this tournament just about every time he's teed it up. So I'm going to pick McIlroy as my only pick. I'm not going to have another pick. I'm just going all in with McIlroy. And I will double it up with Jon Rahm to win again this week on the PGA Tour. So you get 4-1, 3-1. It's 20-1 double for those two. So I probably wouldn't play the singles. I would just double them up this week. So you got a 20-1 bet. Jon Rahm playing in the Farmers Insurance Open. He's won there before. He's finished second there as well. And in the last 5 years, he's had a win in the second place. So vibes are good for both players. And I think they're going to keep the winning run going. So Rahm and Rory this week for me, please.
Okay, they're locked in. Seems quite like a sensible choices there.
Yeah.
Matt, so you're obviously going to go completely opposite.
Yes, yeah. I've tried to find a bit more value. So this week, I mentioned him a bit earlier. For Dubai, I've chosen Minwoo Lee. He's fantastic. Well. Yeah, I really enjoy watching him play. In a good season last season, he came tied 12th at the DP World Tour Championship at the end of the season. Tied 8th Ned Bank, 3rd the Andalusia, 3rd at the Spanish Open. Tied 14th at the Masters as well. I think some people would probably not notice. I just love watching him play golf, to be honest. These last 3 appearances on the DP World Tour have been 2nd, 3rd and 4th as well. So at 22-1, I think that's huge odds for a really consistent player on the DP World Tour. He's got 2 wins. I think he will definitely add another one this year. I love his swing, love his tempo. I really enjoy watching Minwoo Lee play. And another player I believe is in the field is Sepp Straka, who is 75-1. But I think another player who's going to be looking to qualify for the Ryder Cup team. He was unlucky not to win on the PGA Tour twice last season, I believe. He won once at the Honda, and then he came sadly second in a playoff to Will Zalatoris at the FedEx St Jude. So a really impressive European player that's represented Europe on the PGA Tour really well. Came tied 9th at the Players, came tied 3rd at the RBC Heritage. He missed quite a few cuts, to be fair. That should be said, but he came tied 7th at the Tour Championship as well. So I think at 75-1, Sepp Straka's massive odds. So that'd be 75-1 Sepp Straka and about 22-1 Minwoo Lee. I've got 2 more, if that's all right, for the Farmers Insurance.
2 more? Yeah, all right. Yeah, fine.
I'll be quick. So Will Zalatoris, who's 16-1, incredibly consistent player. Don't need me to tell people that. He was unlucky to be ruled out at the end of last season with back injuries. I believe he lost in a playoff at this tournament last year to Luke List. He came second. Just loads of good finishes. Tied 6th at the Masters, 2nd at the PGA, lost in a playoff at the PGA as well. So he's a massively consistent player. And again, he'll be going for the Ryder Cup team for America. He came tied 2nd at the US Open. So loads of good finishes for Will Zalatoris last year. So he's about 16-1. And then a rookie who's really impressed so far this season is Taylor Montgomery, who you can get at 25-1. He came 3rd at the Fortinet, tied 9th at Sanderson Farms Championship and 5th in the American Express, just gone. So I really like some of these rookies that are coming through, such as Montgomery and Davis Thompson, who was unlucky not to beat Jon Rahm last night. So yeah, all those reasons I've just listed: Taylor Montgomery and Will Zalatoris, and then the other 2 for the Dubai Desert Classic.
Right, well, we've got a fair spread there, so surely one of them has to come off. So let us know how you get on if you go for any of those for next week's show. But that's it. We're done for this week. Thank you guys, as always, Matt Shivers and Andy Roberts. My name's Harry Benjamin, and make sure you stay tuned into GolfMagic.com for all the latest news and analysis across the week. Andy's actually out in the US right now, so he'll have all the first-hand news. So make sure you follow us on socials as well. Get a question in if you fancy getting the guys to answer that. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just search Golf Magic and give us a follow. Send us your question. But in the meantime, thank you very much. Like and subscribe. This is From the Tips, the Golf Magic Podcast. Bye-bye.